What is up, guys, and welcome to the Kor'kron Dark Shaman Raid Guide. As always, if you want to take a look at the abilities, they'll be scrolling above my head, so feel free to pause the video at any time if you want to read through those a little bit carefully, or if you want a little bit more in-depth look at what we're doing. Also, feel free to pause or rewatch to watch how we handle certain abilities, but let's get right into this one. This fight is awesome, okay? There's a few things that you need to know. The first thing is there's a couple different ways you can do the positioning on this. The way that you see in the video behind you is we pulled him to the top of the ramp. Now, a lot of groups have been doing this because it just buys you more time. You have that part of the room to use, and as you will see towards the end of the fight, that big circle that you're making with the boss, you know, it's kind of important to try to use the whole room. It just makes the mechanics easier to move out of, and it makes the fight a little bit easier. So really what you're doing for tanks is you're pretty much just slow kiting the bosses around the room. Now you have two tanks, you have two ads. It's pretty easy to do it that way. The things that you really need to move for, as you'll see, is the big the big purple circles, the big, you know, the geysers, the tornadoes, whatever you want to call them. Obviously don't stand in the purple tornadoes, and that's really the ability that you're kiting away the bosses away from, and that's kind of the whole point. Now, the other couple abilities that you really have to watch out for during this fight, okay, are a player will get targeted with a green beam. There's a couple different ways you can handle this. You can just have everybody else move away from them, because a green beam will come out from the boss through that person, and it will make a large trail all the way across the room that will last for a few seconds, and if you're caught in it, it will hurt quite badly. So there's two different ways you can handle this. One, again, you can just have everybody move away and scatter away from them and just have that person kind of stand there until the beam starts coming out and then get out of the way. Or you could have your raid pretty much all stacked up. Half moves to the right, half moves to the left, or you know what I mean? The guy with the debuff moves to the left and everybody else moves to the right. This way, it most of the time will negate a lot of that damage that's coming in. Now, this does make it a little bit tricky for the melee, so you do need to just watch and see who's getting it, but just make sure that obviously if you get the debuff, you're running away and running back towards the mechanics that you've already done is typically the best approach for this. And what I mean by that is as you're cutting the boss around the room, you want to drop this off closer to the mechanics that are already there. There's going to be purple geysers, there's going to be slimes on the ground, things coming out. So if you can keep the abilities out of the path of where you're going, and just put them in the path of where you've already been, if that makes sense. That way you're not hurting yourself down the line in the raid and in the fight. It makes it a little bit easier for you there. The other main ability that you do need to worry about is these slime puddles that come out, okay? So what happens is you're going to see these slime spawn. Now, range needs to kill these extremely quick. As soon as you see these slime spawn, tanks, make sure you're doing a little bit faster move. Don't be close to these. Don't allow the melee to be close to these slimes. When they do explode, they do 100,000 damage per one. If you're close enough to them, they do 100,000 damage per tick, which is a ton of damage. So they need to be range killed. This is great for classes like Hunters, Shadow Priests, Warlocks. As a mage, I was even throwing out a flame strike to try to help, but you can burn these down. They don't have a lot of life, but they need to die instantly. When they're up, they need to make sure nobody's by them and just destroy them as fast as you possibly can, because that's going to be a huge portion of damage. Other than that, that's pretty much the entire fight, guys. The only other real mechanic is at 25%. The bosses will bloodlust. Everything obviously hits harder, casts quicker, goes quicker. So what you need to do during that phase is we just countered the bloodlust with a bloodlust. We popped ours at the same time as the bosses popped theirs, and from there on it's pretty much a burn phase while doing the mechanics. Understand that during that phase the mechanics do hit a little bit harder, but making sure as long as you've got the room cleared out and you're doing, you're dropping the debuffs in the right area, and then you're cutting around the room so that you're always keeping an area safe, you should have plenty of time to slowly kite the bosses as they're in their berserk and get them down before they enrage and kill you. So again, just to go over the fight one more time, pretty much what you want to do, stay out of purple, kite slowly away around the room, drop off the green debuff in the, not where you're going, but where you came from, kill the slimes with range, and then at 25% when the bosses lust, you lust, and it's GG, guys. If you can do that, you can get this boss down. Hope you enjoyed this one, and as always, see you in the next one.